The microphones work, but we don't have the sound in the room because it failed and we're in the process. It was supposed to be here and it hasn't.
Okay. But they can still hear us.
Correct. But you still gotta speak loud.
Yeah.
Loud and proud, my friends.
Recording in progress.
Just for everyone in the room, it's now recording. The sound isn't working, but I just wanted you all to know it is now recording. Okay? All right, it is now 7 o'clock. I call to order our meeting for September 16th, 2024. For everyone that can rise, please rise for the pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So I will just remind counselors, please speak loud. Make sure everyone in the crowd can hear. And again, if there's something you can't hear, raise your hand. I'll be happy to have us repeat it and things like that. We're all in this together. With that, Ms. Hogan, do you want to do roll call, please?
Councilmember Rounds.
Here.
Councilmember Burke.
Here.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Here.
Councilmember Hall.
Here.
Councilmember Frymark.
Here.
Councilmember Houston.
Here.
Councilmember Friend.
Here. Okay, with that, we have a proclamation tonight for Domestic Violence Awareness Month for October 2024. Whereas domestic violence occurs among people of all races, ages, socioeconomic classes, religious affiliations, occupations, and educational backgrounds, almost half of both women and men in the U.S. have been subjected to psychological aggression by an intimate partner during their lifetime, 48.4 and 48.8 respectively. Whereas Washington ranks as 9th in the nation for domestic violence, 41.4% of Washington women and 31.7% of Washington men experience intimate partner physical violence, intimate partner rape, and or intimate partner stalking in their lifetimes. Victims are deprived of their autonomy, liberty, security, and face tremendous threats to their health and safety. And whereas 60% of children exposed to adult domestic violence each year. Whereas domestic violence offenses made up 47.9% of all crimes against people in Washington in 2023. Whereas 65% of all murder-suicides involve an intimate partner, 96% of these victims are female. In Washington, 56% of intimate partner homicides are committed with a firearm, and women account for 80% of the victims. Now therefore be it resolved that only a coordinated community effort will put a stop to this vicious crime. Dated this 16th day of September 2024. Proclamation here in the city of Woodland. With that, I believe we have an individual, Ms. Hernandez, is that correct? Oh, come on up. Perfect.
So I'm Elizabeth Murrow,
And I'm Yahaira Hernandez.
and we work at the Emergency Support Shelter in Longview. We service Calhoun County, which includes the great city of Woodland. Yahaira and I are actually contracted through the Emergency Support Shelter to provide services on Thursdays to the Woodland School District, their staff and students and families. We've been doing that for a year now, and it's been an amazing outcome, helping bridge those services to the residents here in Woodland, bridging the gap of transportation or needing to be more discreet when fleeing domestic violence or getting other needs met. It's been a really great success, so we're excited to see what this year does and see how we can help families in your guys' city. So the Emergency Support Shelter is actually more than a domestic violence shelter. We do have a shelter. It is for individuals who are fleeing imminent danger. and it is not a homeless shelter. There is a certain criteria in which one would need to meet to gain access to the shelter. Outside of that, we have many other programs. We brought brochures. We're able to bring them if you guys can have them both in Spanish and English. We have our Hope Project, which helps survivors of sexual assaults. We have our CVAP program, which helps anybody who feels they're a victim of a crime, whether it's reported to the police or not. We have our domestic violence program, which helps people who need to get work on fleeing a domestic violence, or they have left but they're safe in shelter. We can help with legal advocacy such as parenting plans, dissolutions, which is a divorce, protection orders, etc. And I believe that's our programs. Oh, excuse me. We have the Human Resilience Project, which is our labor and trafficking and labor trafficking and human trafficking program as well. So we specialize in actually all of these services along with the rest of our coworkers at ESS. So.
Excellent. Do you mind passing those out
Yeah.
to each of us here? I know I would like one.
I did bring 3 extra copies of what you read if someone else wants them. I don't know if everyone is able to hear, but there are 3 more copies of what the mayor had read today. So we're really pleased with the work that we do. We actually can service Wahkiakum County and Columbia County giving the crime that's been committed. We are trying to get more engrooved here in Woodland because there is a need. You guys have a population very high of Spanish speaking. So we get a lot of want, but then it doesn't get followed through. So we're trying to figure out how to bridge that. So if you guys need any assistance or wanting, please send them our way. Our services are 100% free and confidential. Because we're considered a safe shelter, everything that we say and do at our shelter is bound to higher confidentiality than HIPAA. We can't confirm or deny anyone receiving services. It is a safe place. We provide service in office. We can meet them if it's safe in the public. Maybe their only safe time is to grocery shop, so we go grocery shopping with them. We can do Zoom or phone calls as well.
So does Amanda have your information? Because I would love to schedule some time, sit down, see, what we as a community, what a
Yeah.
city can do.
Would love that.
So.
Yeah, Amanda does have my information.
Okay. I would look to do something like that if you guys are open to that.
Yeah, yes.
Perfect.
We certainly are.
Tomorrow, are you available? Just kidding. I'm actually booked this week, but.
I'm headed to Disney World.
Oh.
Yeah, you can't miss
I'm,
that.
I'm
My
kind
granddaughter.
of sick now. Oh. Do you guys have any questions for us?
Where do you get your funding from?
Oh, that's a great question. So, because it's a federal and state, there is a rumor that we might still start getting county funding. I got told that last Friday, not sure. There's talk of it, but there's nothing signed, actually. And we raise a lot of money through donations. More than half of our income is from donations. Also, Red Hat. I don't know, are you guys familiar with Red Hat? Okay. So we actually asked that the community members we actually asked the community members to take their donations there because 100% of their profit goes to the Children's Advocacy Program and the other half goes to the Emergency Support Shelter. So they are a massive funder for us. And we do have some really generous donators out there that donate tens of thousands of dollars to us as well. But we raise money by awareness and just merely donations from the community, where we can get like diapers or wipies. That helps us not having to take money out of our budget, our cash.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Any
Any other questions or comments? Any questions from the audience? Perfect. Elizabeth, I see you're on the sheet. Did you want?
I didn't mean to do that.
Okay. Nope, it's all good. Like I said, we're
I didn't
all
know what
in
I
this
was doing.
together. So I just wanted to make sure where it wasn't.
No. Is there a way I can get a copy of the proclamation signed by you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I will sign it and then Amanda will have it at the city.
All right. Thank you so much.
No,
All right,
thank
you.
you.
Guys have a
Nice
good
to meet
evening.
you both.
Thank you.
Drive careful.
Yes.
Okay, with that, we will move into citizen comments for items not on the agenda. John?
Good evening. I heard that Chief Kelly retired. I wish him and his family well. I didn't know that, so that's the one thing. The next thing the mayor already tipped me off on was the development on Lewis River Road. I see they're moving vehicles in there, cats and everything, so I guess everything got worked out.
Yep,
And they're
the
gonna-
work stoppage was lifted, grading, they did some engineering work, and we met with Department of Ecology, them,
Okay.
and worked everything out.
Okay. And also that 5th Street and the South Pekin Road, great. I travel on it every day, and they did a really good job, I think.
So,
Excellent.
two things, John, for you. First off, September 27th is the hearings examiner
Okay.
for that subdivision. I know that it's near and dear to you. That's where they'll come in with their short plat of 85 homes.
Okay.
And then South Pekin was done a week early to give shout outs to
Yeah.
Public Works Department. The striping has not been completed. That
Right.
will be done early next week. And it will be a double solid line there for no passing all the way through South Pekin.
But they did a really good job I've been traveling on it every day, and it's smooth. So, good job.
Okay. Any comments for John? Anyone else? Okay. Michael Perry.
Good evening. I've never been to one of these before, but I have a couple of concerns. The first one and most pressing is the homeless tent a block and a half from my home that was set up about a week ago and still exists there today. It's a huge nuisance. I have a wife and 2 small children that walk around our neighborhood every day in the evening, and the man that set up there has the whole sidewalk blocked. He yells profanities from every word you could think of. I've had contact with 2 different police officers. Both of them told me that we do not have a no camping ordinance in the city, and that I need to come here and figure out how we can get that instilled or what can be done about it. 3 different times the police told me that he's fine to be there. Every time the sidewalk's completely blocked, I thought that was a violation. One time he was out on the sidewalk yelling that he wanted to kill himself and cursing everybody that came by the street. A police officer came up, told me he'd do something about it. The man's still there. So I don't know what can be done about that.
You had 2 items. Do you want to talk about this one first or your second item?
Yeah,
What's
if we
easiest for you?
could. Yes, sir.
Okay.
That'll work.
So this one here, correct, the city does not have a no camping, no panhandling ordinance. Both of those items were taken to council in 2019. Frank, who used to be our attorney here, kind of had some guidance and different things. Supreme Court has worked through some issues and has different rulings. And so Emily, who is our new city attorney here, I'm also looking not through you, but back to Sergeant Lip, because he actually worked on a lot of this piece here, is we're working on a ordinance for both of those items here, so that it would be an ordinance and against the law for us.
Okay.
So, but right now, our hands are tied with that. Sergeant, do you have other things you want to throw in there? Because you and I have had extensive conversations on this.
This is what reiterates back in 2019 in front of the council, there was some legal concerns with case logs throughout the nation. The goal of the Woodland Police Department is to provide a safe community for all, and also to offer resources to those people that are homeless and houseless and try to assist them. We don't have the network in the city that have a shelter right here for anybody to go to. It's Longview or Vancouver, and there's groups that we can work with to try to assist that even further. And then, like the mayor said, that he's got a couple ordinances in front of him that there'll have to be some work done on them with the attorneys and see where we go with that. I encourage you to call every time that you have a concern, not just on that, but on anything in the city.
That was gonna be my next question, a safe community for all. At what point does his rights trump the fact that my little kids hear this man yelling the N-word and the F-word and screaming profanities as they walk down the street? How is that okay to continue?
Report it. That'd be one step. I don't want to put you in harm's way, but we need to actually, for like disorderly conduct, we need to be part of that present at the time when it's occurring, just not the report.
The officer came the other day when it was happening at the same time when I was walking down the sidewalk. And he said, I'll take care of it, and nothing was taken care of. Nothing was taken care of.
I can talk to you more after if you want to, or I'll give you some information on how to request a copy of the police log.
Okay. Okay, so is there a time frame that this is
So-
going in? Is there something the citizens can do? Can we sign a petition to move it through faster? What?
I will let you all do whatever you want. I mean, if you want to do a petition, that's not gonna.
I don't know how it
yeah.
works. I'm
So-
just asking the question.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so here's the deal, is, with an ordinance, have to have first, second reading, we also have to have public hearing. So, for the next city council meeting, which is the first week in, first Monday night of October, I'm hoping, working through with the attorney, which we've already started having the dialogue and trying to figure out what that zoning, or that ordinance looks like. Because again, there's communities around us, some are working, some are not. So if we're gonna do this, I wanna make sure that it's the right step forward, where I'd hate to put this in order, there's a lawsuit, or we just go backwards in space. So I
Right.
wanna do that correctly. So we'll have a public hearing on it, then we'll take it to a first reading and a second reading. So hopefully the plan is by the end of this year, we would be able to get something in place, with that.
Okay,
So,
all right, thank you. And is there anything anybody can do in the meantime? Anything the citizens can do, I could do?
so, I guess, I mean, and I don't mean for you to have to.
Oh, no, no, I
because
d- I don't
I've
mind
been
at
working
all, no.
extensively here with Lip. I mean, he seems to be getting my calls when I have, questions and things. Do you want to explain why we were able to move the tent off of the property by the airport here
So we
2
have
weeks
a
ago
camp that
versus
was
why we
over
can't do
by
this one here?
CC Street Bridge.
Yeah, I've seen that
We
one.
have a trespass agreement in place with DOT property and the Dyken District, which both have jurisdiction in that area. Having that in place, we go there, we give them 24 hours notice to move. If they don't move, they can be cited for criminal trespass and their camp taken down. We had two parties were out there, one complied immediately, was out the next morning. The other one left some items behind, but he abandoned his camp, and he took what he wanted. And so our public works had to spend probably an hour and a half out there cleaning up feces, camp and everything else.
Yeah, and that's what's
to
happening on the
dispose of.
sidewalk right next to
Absolutely.
my house. Yes, sir.
And so, but when it's on you have the sidewalk, the planter strip, and the curb, that area from the sidewalk to the curb is open area, it's city property, city right of way, so therefore he can put a tent there right now the way, since we do not have a camping ordinance. Passable path, sometimes it's I've been out there a few times.
Yeah,
and we
it's
have-
every day, it's clogged up. As soon as you leave, it's, the whole sidewalk's taken up, and now he's got visitors, they're out there, it's a mess. It's a mess.
Well, I'd be more than happy to talk with you later, and so would Chief
I'd
Gates.
appreciate it, thank you very much. I live over here on Park Street. It's on Hoffman and Washington, just south of Washington. On Hoffman.
Scandinavia Hotel,
Yeah.
just, to the south of that on Hoffman. It's there. I've driven past it numerous times. Just, I mean, again, totally get it, and that's why we're taking action here and working with the city attorney.
Awesome, thank you very much.
100% agree. You had another.
My second one, code enforcement.
Mhm.
Is there a code enforcement position now
So we
that
have
is
a,
contactable?
yeah, so we have a code enforcement officer. It was part-time previously, and it's still kind of part-time. Our code enforcement here at the city of Woodland is complaint-driven. So, it's just the way that it's, done. It's not where we have somebody drive around and go, oh, you, and all of a sudden starts knocking on people's doors and saying your fence is wrong. It's by complaint from a neighbor.
Okay.
And so you can go online and file a code enforcement, or you can call into the office. Her name is Alyssa that does that.
Okay, cause I've called a half a dozen times in the past 5, 6 months, and I keep getting told that the code enforcement position is vacant, and I've left messages. I could get you the information. I didn't bring it with me of who I spoke to. My issue is my property line is right where the new dialysis clinic and the Dutch Brothers is. That's my fence line. And nobody, since that has been sold, is keeping up that fence line. And there's stuff growing over, it's knocking my fence over. Nobody's keeping up on that fence line.
Maintaining the
Correct.
side
So
on the
I've
other side
called
of the fence. Okay.
numerous times, and I keep getting told that code enforcement is a vacant position for right now.
Nope, we've had that position. Alyssa
So-
does it. So again, I'm going to reach out to look at Amanda here, 8281-225-8281. Talk to Amanda tomorrow, or call and ask them to talk to me, and they'll send you right to my cell phone, and we'll get it taken care of.
Okay, perfect. Thank you
Okay.
very much. That's
Uh-huh,
all I have.
absolutely. Thank
Appreciate
you.
your time.
Uh-huh.
I have,
Hold on a second.
I have filed a complaint twice so far. Seen nothing done.
How long ago?
For code enforcement?
About 2 weeks ago.
And she hasn't been out there this week?
No. And I also brought it up to the Public Works.
I haven't reached out for about a month, but before that, it was consistently
I live
told
right
that.
around that area.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yes, sir. Yeah, nobody's taking care of that. The people that used to own that property were great. They always took care of that fence line. But ever since they sold it and started building businesses there, it's just been left to go. So.
Okay, and we can get Travis, who, is, do some property search and work on that. So definitely. Okay.
Awesome,
Mayor.
thank you.
One more thing.
Yes, sir.
It's Mike, correct?
Yes, sir. Michael. Yes, sir.
Mike, I assure you, you have great sympathy for members of this council, and I would encourage the mayor to move as quickly as we can on this. I know there might be some legalities, but the law has changed in many states.
Right.
And
You need
we
to speak
feel-
up for everyone, sir.
I feel for your situation.
Thank you.
You got great sympathy on this council, and we'd like to move forward. And I individually would, and I think the rest of the council would like to move forward on it quicker and not later.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. Next item, or next person, Keith?
Good evening. I'm going to talk about Planters Days first. We're kicking off the season again. So this will be the 103rd Planters Days. And we'll have our first meeting tomorrow at the VFW at 6:30 p.m. The public is invited. Please come and join if you want to get involved. The dates for this next event will be June 19th through the 22nd. And the first thing that will start the season off will be the theme contest. So I'll be working on that as the next item. We'll have the theme contest, and we'll have the art contest. We'll get some new princesses. It's going to be a good time. So that's all I have for this time. Thanks. Any questions?
Hold on.
Sure.
Questions, anything for Keith? LTAC.
I have 2 applications that'll come in
Okay.
this week.
I just want to make sure, because I hadn't seen any.
No.
I checked the
No, it
email
didn't.
regularly, and,
It didn't escape my
okay.
mind. Thank you.
Just want to make sure you hit the deadline on Friday, sir.
Oh yeah, it'll be in this week.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
With that, is there anyone else in the room that would like to speak about something not on the agenda? That was not on the list here, but wants to speak to it? Miss Holland, you win the, come on up.
Sorry, I was late. No, so I'm Deanna. I'm with the Woodland Action Center. So I had intended to just share that it was Hunger Action Month, which happens every September, and it is about, it's a national thing where everybody works towards alleviating hunger in their communities. And so, which the irony is that Woodland Action has had to dial back their service days. Instead of every Saturday, we are now distributing food twice a month. And so some of those things are that one of the decisions, that decision was sort of based in, there are other agents or other organizations who are kind of competing with us for resources. So a lot of the food that we get comes from our local Walmart and Safeway and places like that. And so other organizations from other towns and within our town have decided to tap those resources. So we are getting less and less to distribute to people. So it is taking twice as long to acquire enough food to serve the clients that we have. And we're having to go kind of further and to access resources for clients. So like last Saturday, we hadn't been open the previous week, but we were open this last Saturday, and we had over 150 families. So we usually serve over 1,000 individuals, I think.
Over what course?
Over a month.
Okay.
So, because if you figure a family size, a lot of family sizes are 1 to 2 people, and then you have people with kids. And for anybody who's new, over half of our clients are either elderly or children. So we have to collect data for all the organizations we work with. So Clark County Food Bank, we have to report to them. We have to report to Food Lifeline, who is part of Feeding America. We have to document things for the USDA because we're a commodity site. So there's a lot of data collection in our building that happens. So we can tell you how many people in each age bracket we serve every month. So because of that, and something that is kind of interesting is that just to be a food bank in Woodland, the insurance on our building, our over 100-year-old building, is a little over $9,000 a year. So things like that, you can't get grants for. So we collect donations, financial donations. There's a lot of regular donors. We have fundraisers. We haven't really fundraised in a while because of COVID. We're working on putting together another Empty Bowls, and that's a fundraiser we did pre-pandemic that was pretty good. So those are some of the things. So if you know anybody who wants to volunteer, we also ran distribution last Saturday with 3 volunteers. So most of our volunteers are older retirees. One of our oldest volunteer is 90. His name's Jerome. He can outwork everybody. So it for me, it's kind of interesting that normally what I hear is somebody should do something, right? So we're doing something, but then I'm not sure where the magical money tree is going to be, because we are seeing less and less donations, of course, because the economy is kind of crusty right now, and the grants for certain things have kind of went away. And for we went into the pandemic with a pretty good nest egg. And because of that, we were feeding off of that to pay our bills, right? So that's how we pay our like $800 a month garbage bill and things like that. And our water bill, because our building's old, and our pipes, everybody knows our utilities are based on our pipe size. Well, that's an industrial building with big pipes. And so we have a pretty good water bill, even though there's like 1 bathroom. So just things like that. But just so that everybody in this room is aware that we have now dialed it back to distribution of twice a month. That will be September, October, November. Because of the holiday, we will be open 1 day that month. December, it will be 1 day that month. Our board of directors will be meeting probably the end of December, 1st of January, to determine whether or not we even continue after almost 30 years. So, because it takes a lot to be that organization. And some of the different services that we provide, maybe we'll pivot. Maybe we won't do food. Maybe we'll only do it once a month. I don't know. I'm just the board president. It's up to the board of directors and how they choose to move the organization forward. So that one is one of those things. And then I don't know that anybody here knows that one of the services that we provide and one of the things that I was is emergency supplies for unsheltered individuals. And we administer the document recording fees for housing that the City of Woodland, their document recording fees, we are able to keep people housed by utilizing your dollars, your document recording fees, to pay people's rent. Let's say somebody gets sick or gets hurt and they can't pay their rent that month. It is easier to keep them housed than to rehouse them once they are evicted. So that is one of the ways we administer your fund.
$10,000 a year.
Yeah, and
Deanna
so
and I exchanged some emails figuring out how to.
yeah, and so that's a thing that we do. Interestingly enough, I was able to in January. Now I'm going to pivot since there was a conversation about a gentleman in a tent on a sidewalk. In January or July, at the end of July, I was able to advocate for Woodlanders at the county's Homeless and Housing Task Force meeting. And so different people have been appointed to that. So there's Longview City Council people, there's different leaders from different organizations. Commissioner Mortensen was there. And so we were able to have a conversation. I was able to advocate for Woodlanders. Interestingly enough, they all thought we had a shelter. We do not, because in January we do a point in time count that is given to the Department of Commerce to determine where funding from the state will happen around the state based upon the number of unsheltered individuals you have. Handful of years ago, 13 unsheltered individuals in Woodland. And over the last handful of years, we were able to partner. Sergeant Lip would be a good one to point out that we've been really good partners with the police department. Ms. Coleman with Public Works, if she would find people in parks, able to help try and connect them to services to get them out of our city parks, specifically the one across the bridge. But over the last handful of years, we are now down to, I think, under 50 here in town. So I think everybody collectively has done a really good job. How the information I disseminated to the county is relayed in any kind of funding mechanisms or any kind of assistance to our town, have no idea. Because virtually, Woodland Action gets not one dime from the county to perform any of the services that we perform. Those are all disseminated in Longview and Kelso. I asked the silly question, like, do they report what they do with your money? And I was told no. So your tax dollars go up there and they're given to agencies who do not have to report what they've done with your money. Whereas we, Woodland Action, report to the city council every quarter how we disseminated your $10,000. So millions of dollars are being handed out and nobody has to report what they've done with them, which I found, I was pretty shocked. So I did a public records request last Friday because of the conversation the gentleman over here started on Facebook about REIT dollars, real estate excise tax. So real estate excise tax 1 and 2, one of them can be used for housing and sheltering people. So if you guys are going to workshop this, I had this crazy idea that I've got spare time and REIT can be used for that. I don't know how much the city has in REIT dollars. I don't know if we give them to the county. I can't remember. But maybe there's that option. Maybe there is an additional service that we could get funding for to perform the task of helping to shelter unhoused individuals. I mean, there's not extra housing available, but it could be a stepping stone to get them to some other situation that isn't in our town, because we have I-5 going through our town, so we get a lot of transient traffic from other areas, and they show up at Woodland Action and they have this laundry list of services that they require, and those are none of the things that we offer because we're a food bank. So we send them on their merry way as best and as quickly as possible, because Longview is where your county dollars go to help unsheltered individuals. Clark County, we have a very tiny piece of people here that reside in Clark County that are unsheltered. You will get housed faster because they have kind of systems in place to facilitate that, whereas Cowlitz County still can't decide what they're doing and haven't for a decade. So that could be an opportunity. Just throwing that out there. Would be happy to have a conversation if anybody really wants to have a solution to any of these. Would love to have a conversation about that. But anyway, that was, I didn't want to monopolize all of this, but I just thought it was kind of apropos. I wanted to talk about Hunger Action Month and kind of the things going on at Woodland Action Center. But then that conversation came up, and I just thought I would share a little bit about that, since maybe nobody knows that. So I thought I'd share. So
I took down the action items on the REIT 1 and 2.
Okay.
So, yep, I think.
And if we ever do a workshop, my mother-in-law, before she passed away, started a nonprofit in Oregon City that my father-in-law still runs today, and they just got a $10 million grant from Clackamas County. But they've been doing it for years, and could probably be a good source of information.
Deanna, I'm assuming you need both food resources and people resources, right? How would one from the city donate food in bulk or in whatever quantity they have?
So a lot of times people will have food drives, which we love. Those are, we can provide people with lists of things that are actually usable. Things that are really good are canned food, canned shelf-stable food that isn't expired. When food drives happen, almost half of it gets chucked because it's like 5-year cans that you found in the, it's great that you cleaned out your cabinets, but it probably shouldn't have came to us to throw away, which is why we have a high garbage bill. Financial can be made, any kind of financial donations can be made. There's a link on our website that goes to PayPal. You can set up for even $5, $10 a month recurring. People can mail them in our P.O. boxes on our website. We have a lot of donors, a lot of churches in the area actually are monthly donors. They collect and then they donate to us to disperse. The thrift store that we have upstairs is a source of unsheltered folks, or let's say you experience a fire. You can come in and get clothing for you and your family for free in the thrift store. You're able to access those resources so many times a year. But if you shop in the thrift store, that 99% of the money goes to running the day-to-day operations of the food bank.
So you take like clothing donations?
Yes.
Okay.
So as long as it's clean and usable, you can drop it off on Saturdays between 11 and 4. That's when the store is open. They're open Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday, or 11 to 4. But on Saturdays is when we take donations. Food donations are brought in downstairs, which we take on Saturdays. The back loading dock nearest the railroad tracks is for the thrift store. There's also a comprehensive list on the Facebook page for the thrift store of things they accept and things they don't. People are incredibly generous here, but we are limited to space, so we don't take a lot of large things. Large furniture items don't, they just take up space and don't move. Things that people love to buy are household goods, kitchen gadgets, books. We are like a huge bookseller, and clothes, because you can fill a, here's my pitch, you can fill a bag for $6 with clothing, or kids clothes, you can fill a bag for $5 $5. I mean, you can cram a lot of kids' clothes in a bag for $5.
Well, I know I did some stuff with Share. One of the things that they were looking for often was like rice, beans, pasta, things that shelf stable that they can hand
Right,
out.
but not ginormous bags.
Right.
So we get a lot
case
of
packaged bags.
correct. Yeah. So that will come up. Usually, the only time people think about us is like Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I like to be kind of snarky and say, our clients eat 363 other days of the year, not just those 2 holidays. So things like beans and rice, canned soup, canned chili, dry goods, pasta. Right now we have a lot of weird pastas, like lentil pasta. Not everybody digs that. Like real,
Kids want mac and cheese.
right, real food that most kids will eat.
And then what about volunteering hours? How do you?
So there is a sheet on the Woodland Action website where you can just fill it in, and then we'll respond. You tell us when you're available, and if you have any special skills that we can utilize, we'll tell you when the best time to come in to help us. Saturdays, most of our volunteers start the ones that handle the bulk of the clients first thing in the morning, they start leaving at about 1. But we're still open till 5 to distribute food. So even if you have kids that are like 12, 13 that want to just help older folks out to their cars with their carts and bring the carts back. Things like that. We have the bulk of what's funny is the bulk of our volunteer base, and you would never know, are court-ordered, Department of Corrections court-ordered volunteers. That is who kept us going through the pandemic. That is who kept us open for a lot of things, because we don't have a lot of regular volunteers. It's not the most fun. It isn't. I mean, it's not the most fun thing to, have people yell in your face because they don't want to wait an hour. But we cycle. I mean, really, we're pretty good at this. We can cycle 30 households through in an hour. So, and you get to shop for your own food. So we can move people pretty darn quick, but we do have a lot of elderly clients that need some help to push their carts, get them back from their cars, because that's a long walk. Yeah.
Thank you.
The commodities, do they not give you enough to give a family to last for a month?
So USDA commodities is a thing that we order those items from Clark County Food Bank, right? So we know we're going to see about 150 households on a Saturday. So last Saturday was a commodity day. So what we do is we go through the list, the online shopping list from Clark County Food Bank, and we order enough for those, right? So we will order, if there's 24 bags of rice in a case, we will order enough cases to build 150 commodity boxes, right? What that is it's a supplemental item. So you will have, like last week, you got some canned veg, canned fruit, frozen apples, frozen fish sticks, I think some red kidney beans, some other items were in there the month before. It was like a big bottle of juice, some oil, some oatmeal, it's whatever they have. It isn't like it's the same thing. It's here's some stuff, and here's all these 27 other food pantries ordering from it, and we get what we are allotted based upon the number of people we serve. And so it isn't enough to get by. It's supplemental.
That's the key. It's supplemental. It's supplementing.
Okay.
Right. And so before the pandemic, DSHS had a mobile unit that would come to us on a distribution day and help people get signed up for food stamps, right? Because Kelso is a long way to go if you don't have a way to get there. To get signed up for food stamps. And so they just reached out to us. I saw in an email where they're back now that the pandemic's over and they have funding available. They're wanting to go around and perform that service again. So maybe that might help. But the thing that I thought was weird was during the pandemic, everybody got extra food stamps, and we saw our numbers drop down to half. So that told me that if you just give people the amount of food stamps they need to get by in a month, they don't need food banks. But there's a lot of money to be made, millions and millions and millions of dollars to be made in keeping people hungry and running ginormous multi-million-dollar organizations like Feeding America. If SNAP gave everybody what they needed, you wouldn't need these multi-million-dollar organizations that the Congress people in D.C. would give ag dollars to fund. I mean, to me, it just seems like if you just give people what they need to live on, they don't need food banks. And then I'd love to be put out of business because, like, I do this for free. People have this assumption that I'm making $1 bajillion and it's my unpaid full-time job, so I own a company. And I do that and have for like 8 years. So for nothing. But that's why I'm here to talk to you about it. So anyway, anything else?
All right, anything from the audience?
Awesome. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
I appreciate the time.
Appreciate you coming tonight, Deanna. Anyone else in the audience or online for things not on the agenda? Okay, not seeing anyone. Agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda?
With that, Amanda?
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Councilmember Burke.
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Aye.
Councilmember Hall. Councilmember Frymark.
Aye.
Councilmember Houston.
Aye.
Councilmember Friend.
Aye.
Moving on, reports of standing committees, public safety.
All right, I've got two committees in speaking on tonight. So for public safety, we met at 5:27. We had Sergeant Lip, myself, Councilmember Hall, Councilmember Rounds in attendance. Wanted to let everyone know that Chief Kelly resigned. We will be talking about promoting Lieutenant Gibbs to the interim chief position tonight. We still have 3 officer positions that we are still working on filling. We have 1 new entry level that has prior Marine experience in the final background stage and has an interview with Gibbs on Friday. And so he is at about 90% completion rate. He already spoke on the camping and panhandling. Wanted to do a follow-up on the shooting that we've had people come and speak on. There's been about 6 shootings, and it seems to appear that there was the same suspect in all of them, and that person has been arrested and is out on bail. And there has been no extra shootings since he has been out on bail, now that he has been arrested and identified. And we are looking into getting some LPR cameras that will be doing some surveillance from the police vehicles. And they are also looking into some Facebook changes where we will have some more postings and to give some more support to the community through some more transparency and just give a little more info to the community about awareness of what's going on too. And so that was, and we adjourned at 6:07.
Comments or questions from anyone in the audience or up here? LPR, license plate readers. So touch on that for a second.
Okay, so what it does is it will read all license plates as it's driving down the road, and it will be able to identify if they're stolen or if there's anything that they are wanted for other crimes that they may be wanted for, so that, if.
Well, the only thing I'll interject, they're not speed cameras. Okay?
Correct.
Yes.
So these are strictly a camera that can capture a vehicle and a license plate. That information's recorded. So in the case of a crime occurs in an area, we can, if a vehicle we believe has passed through there, we might be able to obtain a license plate, build a suspect profile based on that. So they are not, somebody's already pointed out to me earlier that they thought these were going to be speed cameras. They are not.
Okay. Sir?
And are those cameras stationary or are they on patrol vehicles?
They're on patrol vehicles.
No, these ones we're looking at would be stationary.
Oh, just
You
kidding.
can have them mounted inside the police cars too.
Yeah. A couple different options here. So, looking at it, looking for new technology, looking for ways to enhance. I'm very much about community patrolling here. One of the things, having the conversation with the guild and the individuals there, how can we do things differently? Do things quicker, faster, smarter, less difficult. And so technology obviously is one of those things. So, more to come, obviously, a little bit of research going on that. Along with that is the cameras. Lip is getting a lot of action tonight. Is the, and Mr. Olson was here a few weeks ago and talked about the shooting that was down the street from him, and we've, can we put security cameras around town? So that's something that we're also looking at. Again, looking to see the cost. Cost can't drive everything, but also the feasibility of finding the right locations. Some of the security cameras, it's a 75-foot, radius. I'm looking at, Sergeant Casey over here, because him and I've had a conversation about this, and it's 75 feet. Is that enough, or do you go, with a bigger visibility? Again, how do we do things to create more security in our community?
What about the cameras that take pictures of speeders in certain areas?
So, Lip, I'm going to throw that at
It's
you.
legislation driven. I think Longview has them in some of their schools.
Right. School area only.
There's a lot of areas in the state of Washington where they're not allowed.
Right.
They challenge the
It's
law.
common,
There's, yes.
yeah. I see it a lot up north where I'm working in Seattle and Tacoma and everywhere.
So, again, more to come. Not to take this over, but as we've been working on the 2025 budget and also looking at what we have spent in 2024 is, hey, we have funding and dollars available. Let's get some of that technology in 2024, but also come with a list of things of what we want in 2025. I think most of the people in the room online know that I am very much pro first responders, police department, and I will cut administrative funds and make proposals on that way to do things for the police department. So that's why one of the things they're doing is really looking into those things. So I appreciate you reporting on those, Melissa. Any questions? Continue.
Let's start with all right, so next we had our human resources meeting, and we met at 6:08, and in attendance we had the mayor, City Councilman Friend, City Councilman Hall, and myself. And we talked about applications for city treasurer are still open. Also, we have applications for a public works helper. I don't like that title, so I have a hard time saying it. And then we have labor negotiations beginning on September 27th for the Teamsters. And that's all that we really discussed, and we closed out at 6:30. And so.
Just to be clear, when we say the Teamsters, that's the clerks union and the public works union. So there's two unions there. So we have the guild, and then we have the, which is under contract, we have the public works and the clerical, which is under Teamsters Local 58. Questions or comments on that one? Finance?
Finance, committee started their meeting about 6 o'clock tonight, and we discussed some current financial situations. The mayor and his team, city employees, are aggressively working on solutions and coming up with better numbers in the not too distant future. And really good news is our energetic city clerk, Amanda Hogan, is now going to put the budget for 2025 on the City of Woodland's website with an associated meetings and agendas, etc. So if you want to find out what's going on there, the city website will be a very, very good place to find out the currency on it. And the committee ended its meeting at 6:35.
I see people in the back saying they couldn't hear. To repeat for my friends in the back, we were going to work to put the 2025 budget, as we get this approved with council here, we will be putting it out there on our website and putting financial information for our community to see where your dollars are being spent and what we're doing with them. So again, it's all about what we are on as a team. So, and Amanda came up with that idea. So, okay. Any questions, comments on the finance piece?
I have a question.
School sports.
I have a question.
So this is the first week of middle school sports. So it's fun. They're back this year. It's great to see them back at the middle school. It's the couple weeks of high school sports. So come check out volleyball, football, girls soccer, and cross country. It's exciting to see. There's a lot of new coaches, a lot of freshmen out there playing, and some middle schoolers who haven't played sports for a while. So that's been really exciting, and they have transportation again. So that's been very exciting. Also, I attended a funeral this weekend for the student who passed away from cancer after his battle with 4 years of cancer. So continue to keep his mom Minerva in your thoughts. If you know her, the service was beautiful, and one thing that the priest said at the service was to bring the tuna casseroles on. Even if it's in a couple months, just continue to reach out to her during this time. You know, bring her just a conversation. That the community that we have is such a great one, that not to forget her during this time, that this is going to be a tough year, especially because it would have been his senior year, that it's a great time for us as a community to just surround her with the love and support that I know she had posted and the community rallied around her over the last couple of years, to continue to not forget her now that he's gone. So I just encourage you guys to all, if you know her, continue to do that. So that's what I have to say.
So, sir?
Yeah, I was wondering, are they doing pickleball at the school or anything? I noticed it's getting to be pretty big.
No.
They like the PE classes will go out there and use like the tennis courts, and I think they're doing pickleball like in the gym. They're teaching pickleball and stuff as part of their PE rotation, because I've even subbed in when they're teaching it, but it's not something that they're doing as a sport per se at our school. But however, I did see it on the senior thing. They are having a meeting regarding pickleball and teaching the seniors in our community about pickleball. So, check. I think Mr. or Councilman Houston had.
So you took what I was going to say.
Oh.
I was going to say the same thing.
Okay.
My daughter had soccer today, so.
Okay, any other? So I'm getting caught up. There was a chat in online here that I missed, and Thony asked, do all the openings for the city play into the budget for next year, and if so, how much? So those positions that are open, those are this year's budget dollars in 2024, those openings. we had positions there, people left, or they are positions that have been open for the beginning of the year. So those 3 officers, the treasurer position, and the maintenance position. So those were all this year's budget, and we will have those in next year's budgets as well. So hopefully that answers that question there for that. Any other comments on reports of City Council? Anyone online? Oh, sir.
I'll throw one thing out that I thought was great. I know that you'd paid, like as a personal donation, rent for the senior group that was meeting. And I had
That
to
was between us. I didn't need it advertised, sir.
I'm so sorry. No, but I saw the group meeting. I had picked up my daughter from school, and they had a meeting, and they had quite a turnout, and I thought it was really awesome to see an idea come into fruition.
So I talked to Mr. Bays about that. He said they had roughly 30, 40 people, and that it was very successful. And it's a great opportunity for, and you don't have to be a certain age. We're all welcome to go, So it's not an age limit deal. I asked him that. So, all right. With that, we will move into reports of advisory committees.
Hello again. Before I start into this, I wanted to mention how I'm noticing the growth is causing things like we're finally realizing we need some senior services and a senior center and probably a shelter kind of things. And I'm just thinking back 5 years ago when we didn't know that we would be able to build a library, which we're going to open in just a few weeks here. So I think a little can-do attitude in this community can get some big stuff done, maybe some stuff bigger than we're used to doing. So on to Chamber of Commerce. New memberships are still 50% off for the remainder of the year. It's a great time to join. I have some new members I'm going to be signing up soon. Everybody's welcome to attend our weekly chamber luncheon meetings at the Oak Tree, noon on Tuesdays. Tomorrow's guest speaker will be Shaden Nugent with Minuteman Press of Kelso Longview. Next week on the 24th, we'll have a member mixer. We're working on getting some of the candidates in there for some of the upcoming meetings. Also, again, the Woodland Community Library is going to open up October 12th at the new location. And I was able to go inside and stand on the new property, and just the feeling of that, you can really feel the potential, to think of all the people that are going to be gathered there. It's going to be a different look, and it's going to look good. It's going to look good on us. Visitor Center, for luncheons also, if you would like to present at lunch, we have lots of opportunities for that. We'll host your presentation. And also, if you'd like to have an after-hours event, we need some people for those. Please come and see me. For the Visitor Center welcomed 183 visitors in August. All the visitor destinations are still open except for Johnson Ridge Observatory due to road closures. And the Visitor Center up in Castle Rock by Silver Lake is going to close for renovations until next year. And I think that's just in a couple days they're going to close. We still have Forest and Discovery passes, and we're still closed on Tuesdays. Stop by and visit. Thank you. Any questions?
Questions?
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. I already threw out about your LTAC. So, reports of city officers. So a couple things I was going to touch on. South Pekin, I was going to touch on the Lewis River, got those. I've heard loud and clear about code enforcement here. I will obviously have a conversation with Alyssa and team there, making sure that's getting done and that we are following through on code enforcement. RV parks, one of the items was the RV parks. We did the new zoning pieces. So I just want people to be aware. We have the new C2, and we also have a C3 zoning. We cleaned it up. We made it so that zoning is, inside the city limits here is 90 days per calendar year. So we will be, code enforcing those two again. It's, complaint driven. So we will do that if one of those or both of those or whatever it is wants to do for a C3. Obviously, they would have to bring it here before council and, have those conversations and go through proper channels. Okay? Online is the comp plan. Right now, we've got about 100 people that have done that. I would urge each and every one to go online, fill out that comp plan. This is a way for you to communicate what is important, related to parks, streets, community. Here is your opportunity for you to go online and do it. You don't have to be a City of Woodland resident. If you live in, the county, go in there and fill it out. We are all part of the community together. October 26th, I see Deanna Holland wasn't here, but on October 26th, October, is Make a Difference Day. We've had a church that has reached out wanting to do something in the community. I would ask community members, I see a lot of you in this room that are here regularly. I hope to see you out there on that Saturday, the 26th, and let's go make a difference in our community. At the same time, we're looking for projects, so if there's veterans or elderly people or somebody that needs, help from the community, reach out to Riley over here at the city and get us those list of projects. And as a community, let's really go out and make a difference on the 26th of October. We can do this together, everyone. Last thing I want to touch on is the police department. I see Lip had to take off for a call. I saw the red lights shooting out there, so always in the hall. I wanted to give a shout out to the police officers. I know that last week there was a social media threats with the school. The school had some activity going on. I received an email and actually had a conversation with Asha about it. She appreciated our quick response from our officers that were on duty. At the same time, there was a little bit of social media traffic last night and different things. Talking to Gibbs today, he went and met at each of the schools, the 4 schools today, had conversation to see how things were going. I just want to give a shout out to our officers for their diligence in taking things like this serious and keeping our community safe. So, again, that was a conversation they were going to have at the school board as far as the schools, but on this side over here is the police department. Any questions, comments for me, or anything here? I was just giving a shout out for all your efforts, yours and the other officers and sergeants last week and then today, reaching out with the schools. So,
try to stay in contact with them.
Yep. On that note, there is one of those 3 positions that we've talked about as a school resource officer. So I've had conversations with the guild. We will be having another conversation now that we've had a conversation with the school and creating that job description so that it meets the needs of the schools and also of our police officers so that we can find the right individual for that position. So, okay. Any questions or comments? Upcoming events. LTAC applications are due. City planning or city council meeting is on the 7th of October. Planning commission is on the 10th. The September 27th is a hearing. And then the 21st of October is another city council meeting.
The high school is starting up a Key Club, which does community service projects and such. And so I think they're meeting this Friday to start the club. So for your Make a Difference Day and for any other volunteer things that you're looking at for the community, might be a new avenue besides just the National Honor Society to reach out, because I know that that's been something that now that all of the class doesn't have to do hours, but they are starting one that's just specifically for giving back to the community.
We might look to them at Christmas time for ringing the bell at Safeway for Salvation Army,
Yeah, I
because
heard
we
all the
always need
announcements today, so-
help for that. So Okay, perfect.
Okay. Moving into consent items. Approve the minutes of September 3rd, 2024.
Make a motion to approve consent item B.
Second?
Conversation on that? Anybody from the audience or online? Ms. Hogan?
Councilmember Friend.
Aye.
Councilmember Houston.
Aye.
Councilmember Frymark.
Aye.
Councilmember Hall.
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Aye.
Councilmember Burke.
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving into action items. Action item C, approve vouchers.
Make a,
Motion- Oh, go ahead.
make a motion to approve action item B. C, excuse me.
Second.
Comments or questions? Anything from the audience or online about the vouchers? Anyone from council? Ms. Hogan?
Councilmember Hall.
Aye.
Councilmember Frymark.
Aye.
Councilmember Houston.
Aye.
Councilmember Friend.
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Councilmember Burke.
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Aye.
Moving into action item D, confirm the mayor's appointment of Lieutenant Robert Gibbs as interim police chief of the Woodland Police Department. I will open it up for comments from the community. Are there anybody that would like to speak on this? Mr. Smith.
Dave Smith, just wanted to say I'm in full support of Mr. Gibbs, and I hope the vote reflects that.
Thank you. I would just like to note, he had a prior arrangement tonight, and I told him, go, that, so this was me where I told him, hey, prior arrangement, that comes. So, any other comments or questions from the audience in, related to confirm the mayor's appointment of Lieutenant Gibbs that would like to speak? Come on up, Sergeant.
I don't know if I need this much. So, Sergeant Terry Casey, I've been with the department since April of 2002. So, prior to that, I've had about 5.5 years. And prior to that, about 3.5 years as a reserve deputy. So, I've been around for a bit. I would urge the council to approve this. I helped train Lieutenant Gibbs. His demeanor, his leadership, not just in police work, but from his prior military experience, has kind of guided him towards this role. I can't think of necessarily anybody I would rather have at the helm of the ship, so to speak, instead of keeping it afloat, but moving in a positive direction. So oftentimes we just kind of stay stagnant, and that's not what we need at this point in time. We need some true leadership that moves us forward into 2025 and beyond. Some of us, like me, are dinosaurs and are looking to retire, and that's not the guy. He's actually got time to make good things happen with this department and this community, and thinks he's pretty much settled down, and will stay the course. So take that into consideration. Thanks for your time.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Ms. Butler? Speak loud, please.
So I often hear the council approve matters because it makes sense, and this just makes sense, so thank you.
So if he's interim, can he become the full-time permanent?
Absolutely. It's one of those things where I met with the guild last Wednesday night, I believe it was, and they also invited Lieutenant Gibbs there. So it was up to the guild whether they wanted the lieutenant, there or just me. Had a dialogue and conversation, and I want to do this right for our community and make sure that we have somebody that the officers, the sergeants, everybody supports, the community supports, council supports, and we as a collective group. And so interim, I was overwhelmingly supportive from the guild. I don't want to speak on behalf of them, but it was very overwhelming. The community has been very overwhelmingly supportive, had said things very positive here. So again, this is interim, just to figure out what we want to do here, but most definitely I would, consider him.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you wanted it full-time, that's, yeah.
So, I'll read something from him. So this will go into the record, and then I will go back to the community comment if people would like to. Woodland City Council, Mayor Deinhardt, and Woodland citizens. First, my apologies for my absence tonight, as these recent changes were unexpected and I had previously planned time off with family. I was recently presented with the opportunity to be interim chief of police for the city of Woodland. This is an opportunity I look forward to and take great pride in. As the interim chief, I will conduct myself so as to bring credit upon our city and our police department. It should be the expectation of the council, our citizens in the Woodland Police Department, that I show up every day to earn your respect. I will remain accountable in my actions as the interim chief and continue to work with all involved to move us forward. I understand this will need the council's approval, and I request you provide me with the opportunity to demonstrate I am the right person for this role. I look forward to working with each and one of you much closer going forward. Very respectfully, Robert Gibbs. Any other comments or questions from Mrs. Smith?
I agree with everybody. I agree with everybody that's come up here and said, really, the council could go ahead and approve what Mayor Deinhardt has nominated, or whatever you want to call it, for Sergeant Gibbs? Lieutenant Gibbs? Chief Gibbs.
He's lieutenant currently.
Okay, so I'm like, please do it. We need somebody like him.
Okay. Any other comments?
I would just echo, yes, the guild does support him. You have all three sergeants from the police department here tonight in attendance, and we all three support him. And Mr. Gibbs is a really good person, and he'll be an excellent leader.
I appreciate the three sergeants being here. That really shows support. So,
Motion to confirm the mayor's appointment of Lieutenant Robert Gibbs as interim police chief of the
Second.
Police Department.
Second.
I have a second from Ms. Rounds. Any other comment? Go ahead.
I have just been completely impressed from the moment I sat in his interview for the lieutenant position. He carried himself with just the utmost grace, respect, and even when he spoke with us during his interview, he was very much looking towards the future as far as he saw himself in a chief position here with Woodland, and he didn't see himself as, hey, I'm getting this lieutenant position so that I can go be chief somewhere else. Like, he saw himself being chief here in Woodland, and I have thoroughly been impressed, even in his short time in the lieutenant position. He stepped in, and you would have thought he's been doing it much longer than he has already. That just the way that he interacts and has taken to our town from just the officer's position to a lieutenant position has been huge, and I fully support him in this position and look forward to that.
I was in on the interviews also, and I totally support him also, but I'm saddened that Chief Kelly resigned. Talked to several people and businesses, and they're saddened too, but I wish the best for him, and we'll move forward. And like I said, I'm all for the position that we have before us tonight, but I'd like to wish him all the luck in the world, so.
So, any other comments here? So I'm in for transparency here, and I just want, if somebody wants to do a public records request, they want to. So, there is a contract out there with Chief Kelly. I wish him well. I think, I appreciate the last 7 years that he served here. He is on our payroll through December. He's on our medical, so he's not starting, with a new deductible plan. He will be cashed out It goes towards his retirement, absolutely, you know, and so, I wish him well. So, 100%. The other thing I would like to throw out with Lieutenant Gibbs here, so today, there was a little bit of the email, social media traffic with the schools. It was his day off. At 7:30, 8 o'clock this morning, he was calling me. He was in contact with sergeants. He came down here. He drove to the schools, had contact with each of them, reached out to Asha. I appreciate that forward looking and saying, hey, you know, I see these things up north. I know the things that, you know, this was Texas's, you know, from last week. I really appreciate that there and the relationship and seeing that relationship with the other officers and the sergeants. So I look forward to it. So any other conversation or comments? Ms. Hogan?
Councilmember Burke.
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Aye.
Councilmember Frymark.
I want to thank the sergeants for their input. That's important to me. Aye.
Councilmember Hall.
Aye.
Councilmember Houston.
Aye.
Councilmember Friend.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving into action item E, authorize the mayor to sign a contract with Robert Gibbs as the interim police chief. Comments, questions from the audience here? So, before we get into the council and those things, the contract here, he's a step 7, moves him into a step 7 into the chief of police piece here. If you read the contract, which is out there available for people, I did put language in that contract that if for some reason he is not selected or is not the chief of police, he will be reinstalled back into his lieutenant position. So I want to, without getting into a tangent here, I want to talk about the lieutenant position. I know that was something that was near and dear around here in different conversations. I want to have a conversation with the guild, the department, with the interim chief here and have that dialogue and what does that all look like. So again, it comes back to having a, you know, firm conversation and making sure we're moving things right and it's what, you know, is best for the community and that is what the guild is supportive of. So I just wanted to make sure people understood that was in the contract.
Motion to authorize the mayor to sign a contract with Robert Gibbs as the
Second.
police chief.
Conversation? Ms. Hogan?
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Councilmember Burke.
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Aye.
Councilmember Hall.
Aye.
Councilmember Frymark.
Aye.
Councilmember Houston.
Aye.
Councilmember Friend.
Aye.
With that, the ayes have it. He's not here, but I would like to say, hey, welcome, Chief Gibbs in your interim. I will text him tonight. I told him I would text him. There you go. See, this is the relationship they have. And with that,
Motion to end meeting?
Second.
the time is now 8:23. Thank you, everyone.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.